Hi and welcome to another review. This time around I'm going to be talking about The Love of Stones. The author is Tobias Hill. Unfortunately, Tobias died August 2023 from a cancer on the brain. He was a novelist, essayist, short story writer. From what I've seen, he's only written 5 novels, this one written back in 2001. He's quite liked by a lot of people, and I can see how his writing is pretty good. But as far as the book goes, if you like gemstones and history, you might really like this book. I only got into it to 85 pages. I endured with it, but it just wouldn't get going for me. I like a story to get going straight off the bat. I don't like a lot of names getting thrown at me, a lot of places and words that I've got no idea what they're talking about. Let me just read you a little bit of what it says on the book. Adam Mars Jones from The Observer says, a master of the historical thriller. Well, he's probably pretty good with his history, but I couldn't wait for the thrilling to get going. That's what let me down. On the back it says, a bold and intricate novel, a complex tapestry that ranges across time and space, but with a single theme, the manipulative power of exceptional jewels. Penelope Lively from The Independent. A compassionate, intelligent novel that is full of action and interest, that brings alive such an array of people and places of times and culture that it's difficult to believe they sprang from the pen of one writer, Rachel Cook from Sunday Express. And from Naomi Green, The Times, a compelling thriller slicing through 6 centuries in a single sweep. The historic structure on which Hill has crafted a gripping yarn binds together his themes about greed and ambition and about our urge to possess the past in a vain quest for immortality. Obviously, these sort of people, they're writers, they're authors, maybe themselves, so they're certainly journalists in some degree, and they like to give their opinion. I suppose we all like to give our opinion, that's why I'm here. But I'm trying to give a bit of review. The general audience out there that is just an average person that may not be universally qualified with degrees in history and philosophy and all these sort of things. Just an average person that wants to go buy a good book to read. That's me. The précis on the back of the book says, an epic story spanning 2 continents and 6 centuries. The Love of Stones follows 3 very different people, each in their own way consumed by desire that borders an obsession. Their quest is for the 3 brethren, a legendary jewel that casts a shadow over all that comes in contact with it. It sounds really intriguing, doesn't it? That's why I bought it. I got this in a second-hand store. It's $2. That's what I do sometimes. I buy cheap books, try to find a good author, and then if I like the author, I'll get more of their books. Unfortunately, this one wasn't a good pick. Why do I say that? Well, it just wouldn't get going. It had a brief story about to start, and then just kept talking about ancient stuff, historical stuff. And I don't mind history, that's fine, but just kept going on and on and on. It was like you're reading a documentary, or not even that, reading it like a textbook about history. I don't mind history, that's fine, and it certainly has its place in stories, but when you just keep talking about different characters in the book that, well, they're not even characters, they're just people that are referenced in the book. And there's so many names being thrown in, you just sort of lose track of everything. Especially because you can't see it, you're not visualising it, you're not watching it on TV, and you can put faces to names. But when you just got all these names and places coming at you, you lose track of it all. And it becomes sort of meaningless, Tobias Hill considered himself Jewish, and he writes in the region of the Middle Eastern area, and he likes to use a lot of local words for things in his book. The trouble is, as an English speaker that might not know any of that language, you don't know what he's referring to. And there's no sort of clue as to what it might be referring to. So that was the issue that I had no idea half the time what some of these words meant. So I've had a bit of a bad run this year with books. To be honest, it didn't really intrigue me. It was a little bit painful and boring to read. It just didn't engage me. Around 30 pages into the book, one of the main characters, Penelope Stern I think it is, or was it Patricia? That's how much it engaged me. But she starts having conversations with people, and something starts happening, and you think, oh, okay, good, the book started. And then not long after, it just goes into another thing where it just talking history and what's happened with the jewels, and it sort of loses me again. And then it introduces two brothers who are trekking their way to a place, and that's where I started to really get bored, because it just wasn't getting anywhere. Nothing was really happening. I need a story to engage me. Unfortunately, this book is over 450 pages long, so I didn't get through to 100 pages, and I just couldn't tolerate it anymore, unfortunately. I don't like to speak ill of the recently departed, and I'm sorry that Tobias Hill went through what he did. But as far as his work goes, for me, I find it a little bit difficult to engage with and enjoy. Having said all that, perhaps the book really would have picked up later and become quite a good story. So I like a book that engages me straight away, captivates my interest, and there's a story straight away. And I'll be reviewing my next book, which does start like that, The Ladder of Years by Anne Tyler. I've never read any of her stuff. She's quite prolific. So sorry, Tobias, you just didn't do it for me. You might do it for some other people, but unfortunately not for me.